Okay, I'm gonna try the boppers on some obsidian that I got from my friend Luke. Thank you very much. This looks like it might be triple flow, but we'll see. It might just resemble mahogany obsidian more than triple flow. We're gonna see. So when I work obsidian or anything that I think will get into my shoes easily, and regrettably, I put my gaiters on. Yep. You want some of these? I'll put a link to Sean Dalgetty. He's in Canada. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, my friend Sean sends me stuff. Very generous. Very, very generous. Let's see. Now, I got a feeling I'm not going to be using my large 9-ounce bopper. Probably use my 7-ounce. And then we'll try the other ones I got. I didn't weigh these, but I got a whole set. Okay? Okay. Now, since this is going to be red, I'm not going to put my red background down. I'm going to use the green one. Yeah. Holiday colors, green and red. Because you want to see what's going on, right? Yeah. I do too. I look through the viewfinder to keep everything in frame, and if it's... I kind of sometimes use my peripheral vision, and if it's difficult to see, I mess it up. As far as the centering of the workpiece. Alright, so enough introduction. Let's see. I got my glasses on. I always have my reader glasses on, but this is especially important, especially since I don't know the power of the boppers on the glass or the obsidian yet. I got a feeling this is going to make quick work. I probably should give you the reasons why I'm hitting in different areas. Let's see. Yeah, I always get these requests, right? Well, the object is to get a biface, usually out of a piece. Let's see one that will fit the bill so I can demonstrate how my strategy unfolds. If I get a biface, yeah, I think I can get one this big out of it. My strategy is to turn this into this. Okay? That's almost perfect. I think I might be able to get that out of the middle here. That's the strategy. Turn this into this. Now, how I go about doing it is variable. I mean, there's not one way to go about doing it. I could take it, well, you are kind of limited by the size of the material, so the only place I can get something this big is off this top area, and I got to lose all this bottom area. So that's the first thing you notice when, well, the first thing I notice when I have to start striking this. I got to turn this into this. So what is not this? Well, all this lower area, so I got to remove that, but it's this needs to be flattened out first, usually, to make it easier to picture what I'm doing, and also to see if this is going to work, because there might be cracks and stuff in there. So let's see if this is good material underneath here. I could pick this area to hit. I could, I could tap this down here. I just want to shoot flakes across to clean this off and see what I got. This seems to be the easiest, most opportunistic area, so that's what I'm going to do. And since obsidian is delicate, I don't need to hit that hard. You can kind of tell the strategy by the flakes that are removed. I don't have to tell you, why I hit there. I hit there because I wanted a flake like this. So if you look at this flake, that gives you kind of an idea of what I'm doing. If you just look at the flake removals, you kind of will understand why I hit it there. I hit it there so I can get a flake here somewhere. For you new guys, this is for you new guys, the guys that are old hats at this, or whatever the expression is. You guys know this already. Yeah, let's see. Let's take the big bopper. Why? I don't know. I think that little one is a little bit too. I don't know. There's less of something, right? I mean, it's lighter, but I feel like I might be able to drive a better flake with something heavier. It's just by feel. I don't really know why. And you're gonna hear that a lot. I don't really know why I pick different things or why I abrade that to that extent. I mean, it's good to abrade, but why stop there? Why not just abrade a lot or abrade less? I don't know. It just goes by feel. Let's see if that worked. I could feel the momentum of the heavier bopper just do the work. It did the work for me pretty much. So there is some issues, right? If I clear off those issues, then the potential of having a big biface is better. But if it starts to get down too deep, then I'm not going to get a biface that big. But we'll see. It's good to know in the beginning, of course. Instead of trimming all this away down here first and then finding out, oh no, I got goofy stuff and I shouldn't have trimmed so much off the bottom. Okay. But every piece of stone is different, so I don't really know how much benefit there is for me to explain that part. You could have a piece of stone that's more spherical or flatter or a weird shape. Everything is different. Every stone is different unless you're using slabs. With slabs, you can more effectively teach a strategy because it's always the same shape of material. Yeah, with a heavier bopper, it actually does a lot of the work for you. Especially with large flake removals. And it's experience knowing where to hit. I don't really know exactly how high to hit there. I just have it's just by feel where it seems like it'd be solid enough to carry a flake. But that's only after hitting stone many times. See, I want to get a better something here. It doesn't seem solid enough. It seems a little bit weak. So I am going to make it duller, so to speak. Because I don't want to hit it and then having a crush and then having a big old crush right there. I want to take a flake off. So I dull it some more so hopefully it won't crush when I hit it. So I got a good surface now, I think. Yeah. And you know, these can be made into arrowheads. So that's always a plus. If you can do both at the same time. If you're new, I don't recommend trying to do both at the same time. You know, just those flakes that come off, don't worry about those. You'll be able to search your debitage a little bit later. If you're new, you should concentrate on, you know, getting this from this. That's your strategy. Because if you start combining getting long flakes at the same time, then your strategy starts to get complicated. Yeah. And you might not want to make such a big biface if you need a lot of flakes. I tap it so I can kind of get a feel for it. A lot of this is feel. I don't know. You can tell if it's going to hit solidly by just the feel of it. And I'm just trying to flatten it out enough to see if it's clear enough for the biface. I think this is okay. That's just a step fracture. You know, this is not some sort of defect in the stone. I don't think. There's always a possibility that that is some sort of defect, or there's a defect in there somewhere, but I don't think there is. Alright, so how do you reduce the rest of it? Yeah, that's the hard part. I just start to take off what looks easiest. I can hit right there. Take a flake that way. That seems to be easiest. Yipper yipper. And just keep going, you know, I don't know. Eventually I'm going to have to do some edge modifications so I can get past these square edges. You'll see as it progresses. There's still some areas where I can hit to remove some flakes. On this side, you know, I'm just looking for anywhere I can get a purchase on it and remove some flakes to thin it down. This looks like it's okay. It's not that great, but we'll see. It's kind of skimming because the angle's not that good, so that didn't work very well. Let's see. If I scoop out an area, see how this is scooped out there? If I can scoop more of this out, I'll have a better chance of hitting this way. Kind of like making a blades off a core. So I'm going to see if I can scoop that out. Without messing up my length. I almost messed up my length right there. But now I can kind of get in here. Maybe. I might have to hit some more off of that to get rid of this cracked material. In fact, yeah, I should get rid of that cracked material and lose some length, yeah. That does not look that good. I'm going to try to scoop out a little bit more. I scooped it out. I'm worried about these cracks though. See, that's a natural crack in there. There's a difference in patina. Alright, so what my goal is, you know, start taking blades off this way. Using this surface to hit down. So it's already at a good angle right there. Of course, it doesn't last. I don't know what I'm going to do as I get further up, but we'll see. We'll see how this develops. Just do the easy spot first. big bulb, which is not that great. But it did thin it some. Why is the big bulb not that great? Because it leaves a delicate edge. So for the next strike, you're going to lose a bunch of material. Trying to make it the edge a little bit stronger. Well, maybe not that much material, but it's still lose some there, so it makes it more difficult to get up in there. That kind of scooped it out. Alright, so now we're in a situation where back to square one. You know, we gotta find an area to make it thinner. Now, I'm gonna make this, so what can I lose? I can lose some off of here, I can lose some off of here to strike downward. So I can trim back this edge, see that, and I can hit this way. And then I can trim back this edge to hit that way. And the reason for doing those two edge droppings, I hit it backwards. That was dangerous. The strategy, why did I drop this edge and that edge? It's because I can afford to lose those areas. Because in my mind, I've already got this shape in my mind. Usually I just go by this shape in my brain. I don't have to have a pattern or a sample of what I'm aiming for. I just have it in my brain. And now I can hit downward and remove big chunks. I don't know why I picked this side. I can also pick this side. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Still have issues with cracks on this side. Okay, so what do I do with it now? Well, usually when I have the edges meet, see these edges meet now, there and there, I start to zigzag from where the faces. When the faces meet, I can start zigzagging where they meet. The faces meet here and here. Now I can start zigzagging. Where I start zigzagging, it doesn't matter too much. There might be some areas better than others, but I can lose this. You know, if I look in my brain, I can see this sitting on top in my brain, and I can lose that mass there. So I can hit there, because you know it goes away when you make a hit. It goes away. I can hit there, so in the future I'm going to probably hit this way. Maybe I can lose that. Okay. So let's see. It's much easier to demonstrate this with Obsidian. That's why I'm going over it right now. I usually don't go over the strategy. It's more difficult to be successful when it's a difficult stone, but since this is Obsidian, it's a little bit easier to give you the idea of what's going on. So I hit across that way because I need to start thinning down the ends first before I do the middle. So I got this one thinned down, kind of, sort of. Now I'm going to tackle the front, and then I tackle the middle. Why? Because that's just my general rule. You leave it really thick in the middle, it has less chance of breaking in the middle. Yeah. Okay. Not that good at zigzagging there. Let's see, I might be able to hit here and run one across this way. Yeah, just wherever there's an opportunity. I'm just going to go at it at random. Since I tried to prepare this side, but it didn't work that well, so I'm just going to go at it at random. Whatever looks okay. Now, I've got room in here. So, this biface can either be like this orientation, or I can do a little bit this way if I want. So it can be, the center line can either be up here or down here. I have a range in here. See what I mean? I have a range this way or that way for this biface to be in there. You know what I mean? So I can take off mass from the top here, and I still have enough length down here. If I take off this mass, if it seems to be easier to remove mass down here than it is to continue to remove mass here, I can just flip it around and start taking flakes off in that direction. Yeah, it's all about just figuring out how to make the biface. How to get closer to that shape. This is messy and crackly, so let me get rid of some of that. This is what I mean by zigzagging. You can also thin while you're zigzagging, so I don't get too carried away right away. I'm going to see if I can thin it in the middle now. Still need to zigzag it a little bit, so let's see what I can do. Since this edge is already down below center line, I can hit off this edge, maybe, if it's not too delicate, into that area. There's many different opportunities to hit into that area. I could also hit this way a little bit, maybe. I gotta remove these cracks anyway, so I can lose some of this, and that'll drop the edge down for an attack this way, but it's concave, so it's not that great. You want to hit a convex area. It doesn't have to follow a ridge, but it does need to be convex, because if it's concave, it has a tendency to step fracture before it goes uphill. It doesn't like going uphill unless there is also a downhill at the end of the flake. So removing all the delicate areas around the whole thing shows me a better picture of what opportunities I have after I finish doing this. So I might say, wait a second, I didn't see that I could hit somewhere else. Maybe better. It might be better. So removing all the delicate areas at this stage is helpful because it puts you closer to knowing what you have. I don't know how to explain it. Knowing what opportunities you have. Why here? Well, I gotta thin this point down first before I hit the middle. I always thin the ends first. That's just a general rule of thumb. I'm zigzagging. I hit down and then I hit this way, then I'm going to hit down again. This one's a pretty critical hit. I might be able to take off most of that with this hit. As long as I don't overshoot it, it might be good. Nice. Yeah. Overshooting it removes some of the edge, so you have less to work with. I want to make this. I still got some room to work with. Yep. But if I have an overshot, it reduces the width, so I don't have much room to work with after the overshot. So I'm taking flakes from the ends because I want to thin the ends first. This one shot toward the middle because I could do two at the same time. I can thin this point, but I can also thin the middle at the same time. Same with this one. This area here. Just gotta be very careful I don't overshoot. If I hit really hard, there's a chance of it going way too far. That's not too bad. It just scoop it at the end. The most unpredictable part of the flake is the ending of the flake. So it scooped inward, but it's not too bad. I got a lot of meat still in the middle of this. If scoop outs like that happen when it gets real thin, a lot of times it's not possible to get that out. It just stays in there. Let's see. I thought, yeah, that was close to overshooting on that one. So I've got to be very, very careful. That's a good arrowhead flake. Let's see. So I'm just going to continue to take opportunistic strikes wherever they seem to present themselves. Starting from the ends, across the middle, and same with other stones, not just obsidian. It's just easier to do it with obsidian because there's not much effort. Yeah, it flakes easy. But it's the same strategy with anything. Now I can thin the ends by going across this way instead of hitting from the corners. I can hit from the sides to thin the ends, but it's dicey because sometimes a flake can run off the side this way. There's not much room on that side. If you hit toward the middle, there's room on both sides. If you hit this way, it could run off and then take off way too much. So yeah, it feels just like mahogany obsidian. Yeah, it's very, it feels like it's going to snap in half if I get too thin. So I can continue to thin it down, or I can regularize it, or I can switch to another tool. At this stage, this is the blank stage. With no cortex, no major defects. Everything's been zigzagged. There's no cortex anywhere. There doesn't seem to be any issues with cracks anymore. So this is the blank. This is what you take home with you if you don't have time to work it at the quarry, for example. So next stage, let's see. Let's take a little pause. That's stage 1. Getting the blank out of the nodule. A lot of people have a lot of trouble with stage 1 and then the last stage. It's usually stage 3, sometimes stage 4, depending on how things develop. You know, stage 1 is the blank. Stage 2 is when you've got a preform going. It's already heading in the direction of what you want to make. And then stage 3 is finishing it out. Sometimes there's a stage 4 where sometimes when you have a preform, you'll work on a stem first. That'll be stage 3, and then stage 4 is the blade, or vice versa. Sometimes stage 3 is working on the blade, finishing that out, finishing all the way around like it's just a single leaf-shaped blade, and then put in the stem. So if you have no stem, if it's just a leaf-shaped blade, then basically you have only 2 stages. The blank, well, maybe 3. The blank, the preform, and the finishing. But the preform and the finishing are very similar to each other. Okay. Let's see. So yeah, stage 3 would be finishing if it's just a leaf-shaped blade. Where should I? So how close am I? Pretty close. Okay. From here, I don't really need to follow the pattern of this biface. I already succeeded in getting this. Now, what am I going to make from it? You know, am I going to make something like this, just a leaf shape, or am I going to make a point? I don't know. I think I'll just make a leaf shape for now, and then I'll decide on what it is later. Okay, so at this stage, I can switch to a lighter bopper, I think, and then start making it more regular. Get rid of lumps and some thick areas along the edges. The goal is to make everything convex. Both sides nice and convex. So I can go ahead and do that now, because the thinning flakes are coming up soon. It's best to have a convex surface for the thinning flakes. You don't really need ridges, although they do help. You don't need ridges, you just need the convexity. And then start thinking about where the center line is going to be. It's not that great to trim it with the bopper. I actually find it easier to just trim off small flakes with the Abrader. Sometimes. Whichever works. I might lose some length on it because of the crack right there. Take a little bit off. Yeah, the crack doesn't go very deep. Okay. So I think it's regularized enough so I can start doing some thinning flakes. These flakes over there are like shaping flakes. Although I did do thinning, right? It's not really what I consider the thinning stage because there's not much sweat involved. This is the sweat stage where it could snap in half due to the thinning process. And I tend to prepare the whole edge so I don't have to keep picking this up and dropping it and picking it up and dropping it. The Abrader. That way I can just make a pass all the way around. I've already got the edges ground pretty much. Sometimes I need to grind them a little bit more. I'll come to an area that, ooh, that looks good to hit, and then wait, it's not ground down enough. It looks like it's going to crush. So I'll abrade it. And I'll pick it back up and abrade it and then put it back down. But I would like to be able to just abrade the whole thing first. So I don't have to keep putting it down and picking it up. Alright. Okay, I'm going to switch over to indirect percussion to thin it down. Yeah, I was just using this a little while ago. Yep, I did some napping off camera just to get warmed up. So basically, I want to get something that looks like this. Something that looks like this from this. That's the strategy. Now the tactics are the individual flake removals, but the strategy is I got to get something that looks like this from this. So you visualize it in your brain. If you can't visualize it in your brain, get your pattern out and see where you can fit it in there. This is actually a bit too long, but I don't have a smaller one to demonstrate. Do I? Maybe. This was too small, but you kind of get the idea. Yeah, it's not even thinned down very much. Anyway, it's already 39 minutes. I'm going to do part 2 on the next segment. Okay, next segment.